Hello, welcome to the stream. I'm Tiger Chimera, and today we're going to be doing stream 5 of our Sburb solo tabletop game that I've been designing. It's taking me a while to get through this, but I think it kind of makes sense because there's just a lot of different mechanics, and even though I'm making kind of fairly simple versions of the stuff, I think, it's taking, I think it, at least I hope I'm taking a reasonable amount of time thinking through the best way to approach some of these things. And a lot of these things are just, really weird and open-ended and esoteric. And we're not designed to be properly done this way. It was designed to be a game like kind of thing within a medium that was flexible for a lot of nonsense, basically. And that's an entire thing. I could probably do just an essay on that whole concept, but I'm not really doing video essays or anything, and I'm probably not going to try to interrupt this. I'll just do whatever mini rants about the individual mechanics as I'm working on them. I think I've been doing a pretty good pace considering all this stuff. And the first stream was basically entirely I don't know if it's concepting the right word. I don't know what the right word is, but the first stream was basically just trying to deconstruct the concept of Sburb as is seen in the webcomic into its individual parts to figure out what I needed to do. And even then I had a few things pop up in between streams or during the thing that I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot that, or like, oh yeah, there's this big extra thing in this. But anyway, I'm going to just try to get things set up so we can start. I've already started a little bit late, though. A lot of these have already been starting late, so just general apologies for that, but I'll get the music up. I'll try to get the stuff up. I've already got a couple of... I've had to prepare some wiki stuff because today we're tackling, some general stuff. I'm planning to start with the alchemy machine stuff and then move on to landed generation and then try to tackle whatever else I can from here. I think as long as, everything goes to plan, I do as much streaming on this as I did the last couple of stuff. This is going to either be done, I'd say most likely in 2 streams, maybe today, maybe in just 1 stream, but more likely in 2 streams. And then after that, I am planning on immediately after, I do all these, try to whip up a quick off between streams. I'm going to try to whip up a quick, more organized beta. Is beta the right term? Maybe it'd be alpha because it'd be just myself testing it. I don't know. But yeah, I'd be just testing I do a basic, quick organized first test version of the rule set and try to, do a few streams of testing out the system and seeing if I need to adjust it. I guess I also haven't done any of the numbers thing. I'd have to do that too. I'll figure that out. I'll figure that out between streams. Don't you worry. I should just go to an intermission so I can get today's like mechanical stuff worked on. Alright, I'm back. How big did I have? Okay. Gotta switch over to... Because I've been doing all of them like that. Yep, I have. Just double checking. For Amelia. I guess it... Yeah, it exclusively alchemy machines, but it's largely alchemy machines, which is what the Fernalia registry is. Okay, so this is going to be interesting because some of these are going to be fairly straightforward. I've already gone through some of the basic concept of alchemy already and how I'm going to handle most of that. There's going to be one part that I might denote, but I think might be relegated to extra rules kind of thing, or more of a flavor thing. Maybe a little of both, but about half of these are basically part of the same chain of events, which is basically just kind of like a an extended human process system of something that could probably use a lot less steps and has as many steps as it has because Homestuck and Sburb in general like to have a lot of obscene amounts of extra busy work. That part of your goal long term is to kind of work around or ignore. Though a lot of it narratively is like after the first kind of like time you go through all the steps, you kind of ignore it. And most of my experience, like playing any tabletop version of a Sburb experience, has kind of like had. You usually do like the first time the character goes through the process because it's kind of fun role playing, and then after that you kind of just are like, okay, basically assume we go through the automatic process of doing that every time after that for mentality's sake, since it's already going to like not be finished and be lucky if people enter the medium. But anyway, that aside, let's just go through. I'm going to be checking the wiki a lot. I might have to rearrange some of these windows so I can read off of the wiki. The first of alchemy machines. Dowels. So first. Opening it for the time difficult challenge of strength of brute force. Is it server player? Yeah. When you open it, get the first as well as releasing the kernel sprite. And this is kernel sprite. And this is like the first of like many like things where like a lot of the mechanics are just kind of like interlocked. Like you can and I have kind of separated them into more separate chunks, but they really kind of interlock in a lot of places. And this is how the alchemy system kind of interlocks with the kernel sprite system, with that'll eventually become your NPC helper tutorial sprite, but also empower all the enemies. That loops into other things and other things. I'm just double checking how I did the organization on some of the other notes. Okay, so I have been kind of generally doing that. Can't think the whole time. Okay, so placement of the machines in or near players bench rules for space issues. Okay. What did I have it set as? This will be set reflected as a command. Players keep interacting with required command roles that both players capable of interacting with the tent. And so narratively, Crux Intruder being opened will also display a timer when the meteor that puts a timer against player going through the tutorial. Will hit their house. Oh yeah, this feels like one of those. So far, I feel like there's at least 2 moments where I'm like, oh yeah. I don't think I ever explained any of the whole, like, yeah, your house just straight up teleports to another dimension. I might have mentioned other dimension stuff or other world stuff, but yeah, you just get teleported directly to another. Your entire house just gets teleported to another planet. And that's only if you're successful. If you're not successful, you get hit by a meteor. Sburb, if anything, is wondrous, hyper-imaginative, and needlessly cruel. Mostly the last one. It will be needlessly cruel, at least in any version of it I've seen. Oh, I guess I should also mention that while I'm mentioning all this, typically it also means that the number of meteors that will end up being shot towards the planet, especially in a world that has multiple people playing multiple games of it on launch, yeah, that's going to destroy the entire planet. It's going to be an apocalypse situation. I will definitely try to remember to include that in the narrative help section for this. Anyway, for the main. But for the core rules, it's will not. So not as a mechanic, player to deal with. Because I feel like there's already enough stuff. You don't need to put yourself on a timer if you don't want to. And this is all for the first one. The rest I think... Alright. I'll probably have to have a basic thing for the tutorial section too, but for now, let's just kind of go on to the totem lathe. I'm definitely going to have to make this long like the other one. Okay, so totem lathe. Second of the 4 main alchemy. Wait, do I do totem lathe? No, I'm not going to do it. If I'm going to do it in order of 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, the punch design X. No, I'll name it. No, okay, here's the thing. The punch design technically comes in I guess there's two ways to order this. There's the order of operations for normal alchemy, and then there's the order of like tutorial. I think I'll list in here the order that you use them for typical alchemy, but for the tutorial, like for that section, I'll try my best. This is another thing that makes it kind of a like, technically this is the second in the order of operations, but in terms of like the initial entry, you don't get this one at all. You have to get it later. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to the second of the 4 main alchemy machines. It allows you to punch holes into cards in order to use your codes to items connected with codes. Punching cards this way will decrease your deck's inventory size by the number of cards you punch, and also make the item locked. Make any item inside locked. And unretrieve. How do you okay, this is a word that I don't like typically. Oh yeah, and any balance with like having a limited size of inventory goes out the window once you start properly making the captcha cards for doing the items thing. It would sort of balance in the early game, but like once you got any amount of real grist, which probably won't take that long, you can basically just make any amount of captcha cards. You can just basically create an infinite inventory situation, though it might make things annoying depending on like how you're doing the system. I'm not going to try to attempt to fix or balance that because that is by design in Sburb. So if you want to do exploits, if you want to just basically make inventory not matter for size reasons, then, you know, just a second. Okay, and back. Okay, I think I was... You are not boy. Hunt. Prior to enter in due to its first cost. And in its place in the tutorial section, you get a free pre-punched capture card. Okay, what canvas size? Is this how much I changed the size before? I don't remember. Oh well. I think that's all there is with that one. Okay, so now let's move on to the totem lathe. The third of the 4 main alchemy machines. You can you can put in punched capture cards and blank. I'll say blank sight dowels. For main alchemy machines, you can put the punched capture cards and crookside downloads into the machine to create Site totems. Site. The Krug site totem act as a code for the final machine based on the punched capture cards used. This machine will generally exist only narratively in the core rules. Its function is mostly redundant for the existing alchemy rules is written. You can use a to create an exact copy of the item, or use 2 cards at once to merge them with alchemy. Yeah, and there's not really too much more to that. The totem, I mean, even if you wanted to like, I feel like the totem lathe feels like the biggest waste of like in between space. Even if you wanted to like advocate for the multi-step process and physical object thing, I feel like you could arguably like put in the item scanning nature of the card slot in the totem lathe into the alchemider in place of its totem scanner, and it would basically be kind of exactly the same. It, like, the rest of the process could be argued for, but the step between like the cards and I guess the main thing it kind of does is like connect the first 3 machines all together, because the Krug site thing would only be useful for producing the kernel sprite if it wasn't for the totem lathe making the thing. But yeah, and I mean, like, maybe it kind of wasting time is a little bit of the point, and it's something to learn to go around once you get used to the system, but you know, if you were actually playing it, but yeah. I'm not going to dwell on that too much, but that is not, in terms of like the actual game that I'm making, that's nice, because it means like most of these machines are just going to be kind of like lumped in together as like you might interact with 1 or 2 of them and the tutorial, and then after that you're likely going to just kind of like just like the comic, just kind of like streamlined the entire process and just kind of zipped through the alchemy process. Okay. Chem enter. The fourth of the 4 main alchemy machines can put the card right totem. It's is it called a pedestal? Oh, that's not how you spell pedestal. It's pedestal and scan, then so you can duplicate the item for its grist cost. Mechanically just acts as the end goal for creating objects through alchemy, and where the objects will spawn into existence. This will matter mostly for narrative purposes of traversing your house and or for additional rules. Alright. And you think that'd be it. It's been about... I'm gonna say I've been doing this for 40 minutes because I definitely didn't start on the hour. But how many more? And that one's like fairly straightforward. But we're not done with this. I said the main 4 for a reason. There's 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more alchemy objects, alchemy machines. I think that's only partially true. I think some of these are technically for Nayla that aren't directly alchemy aligned. But yeah, there's more. Now the question is, okay, so I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to try to do this where I do the main additional alchemy machines afterwards. And then finish up with the 2 late... I'm going to call them late game machines because they're not directly alchemy based, really. They're not like directly alchemy based, but they are required for the game. Like the first 3 are not required, but more directly related to alchemy, and the last 2 are less directly, if at all, but required for endgame. Okay, so first up, and I feel like this is one of those instances where like some of these items like make me feel like it's implied that there might be other things in the registry. There's a lot of things in Sburb that I feel like it implies that there's probably more than just what we see the characters interact with, especially because we see them unlock things along the way, either through more people joining a session or, you know, just unlocking general progress. But like we only see like parts of it. So that does invite people to fill in their own blanks, but it also means for the purposes of something like this, it means that, you know, it feels sort of incomplete, which is not bad because which I guess how bad it is or not depends on how complete of a thing you want to make. And I'm making this very much with the mindset of I'm going to have one of the most important rules be you just add whatever stuff makes sense along the way, because that's how Homestuck and Sburb rolls. The registry is going to make more sense if you throw in extra stuff that makes sense along the way, and so do some of the other unlockable mechanical stuff. But we'll deal with that. We'll probably deal with that mechanical nightmare next week. It'll either be a nightmare or it'll be extremely simple, or it's going to be somehow both. We'll see. First I need to actually type out these machines. Did I even name what this machine is? I just been pondering the thing. Okay. Pad. First of the 3. Cannon. Alchemy. Cannon. Bonus alchemy machines. This lets you view the result of a looks like Totem's code without paying the grist for it. Mechanically, this means without this object, the player will... What's TTRPG? Hey, full bong hit. Welcome to the stream. TTRPG is a tabletop role-playing game. So, like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, keyboard is loud. Yeah, I know. I apologize for it. I wish I had a better keyboard. But I don't. You know, I don't know what brand or what kind I should get to get a quieter one, and I don't have like the money to just randomly buy and hope that it's quieter. But, you know, you can put it in the suppressor. I'm gonna check, but I'm pretty sure I already have that. I do. This is my keyboard with noise suppression on OBS. If not, you're using the CPU one. Wait, what's this? Low quality doesn't basically work. Well, that's something none of the tutorials have ever... Actually, I must have set this up a while ago because I don't remember there being options. I don't remember there being a separate option. If I could have had, like, a less quiet thing. Is that at least more tolerable? I hope so. I'm jamming the keyboard right now. Jesus, okay. Well, I very much appreciate you telling me that, because either that option didn't exist before when I set this up initially, or none of the tutorials that told you about this stuff told me about it. I didn't have any idea about that option. It's something that's been bugging me for several years of streaming now, so that's... I just hope I remember that if I ever have to set up OBS on a new computer, but thank you. Anyway, yeah. How familiar are you with D&D or other such things? My knowledge is very small, but I'm guessing you at least kind of know the, if not like the rules, you know, like what the general concept of the dice rolling and playing stuff is. What I'm designing is a little less like that because it's more designed for a single person to play it by themselves, but with a set of rules to follow and how to do dice rolls for challenges and stuff, and keep track of different stuff. Since you're not very since you're not a big TTRPG person, do you have Homestuck knowledge, or are you kind of like new to that too? Okay, I'm gonna turn the background music down a little bit. Hopefully that helps. I was asking if okay, is that better? Is that any better? I really can't like move it that far away because it's already kind of on the other side of the desk from me. Alright, anyway, my initial question was... Yeah. Wait, I have to adjust this, I think. Okay, so my question was if you're familiar with Homestuck or not, or if like kind of like this is like mostly like unfamiliar territory for you. No idea what it is? Okay, so long story short, it's a webcomic that heavily features a video game, but the video game is all of reality. It's a fun read, but it's also fairly old, and it's also fairly spicy in terms of its writing, so it's got like kind of mean stuff. It's got slurs in it. I still think it's a good read. I think it's still well written, but it does have like some trigger warning stuff if you need to be cautious about that. So the world is a game. I'd say like basically to not just the world, but like all of reality, and the video game is basically a creation process to create more reality, more universes. And the end goal of each session is basically to create a new universe. And that's kind of big spoilers for the thing, but like if you're here, I forgot to put spoiler warning on this thing again. I keep forgetting to do that for each stream. But yeah, it's really cool. I think Sburb as a concept is really cool, and like that's why I'm trying to recreate it in game form, in tabletop form, because it's probably since I don't know code for making it a video game, but I'm probably not masochistic enough to try to make a video game version of it anytime soon. Slurs aren't even slurs anymore. I just feel it's fair to like warn because it uses some stuff. Yeah. I just know that some people aren't, you know, I feel like it's a fair warning, like it's not whatever. It's yeah. Where was I? Okay. Cloning pad. Wait, cloning pad? I accidentally jumped a thing. I'm not supposed to be the cloning pad yet. Falling asleep? Well, if you stay awake, I hope you enjoy this stream as you watch it, but yeah. Telebeam laser station. Audio only? That makes sense. I'm mostly just kind of like typing out words right now anyway. Over the machines which have been that code unkept parts of items are normally impossible to read gameplay balance, such as the herb look at general. Okay, I don't know if I'm on OBS, so I don't know if in general, like, on Twitch or something, you mean? Oh, I'm not super... Alright. On the Discord. I thought I checked the Discord. My Discord, because I don't see a post there. Well, thanks for the follow. Alright, while you're dealing with that, I'm on to the third, and I think one of the more underappreciated parts of Sburb and Homestuck in general, the jumper block extension. There it goes. Ah, the waveform, cool. It's pretty cool. All right. All right. Jumper block tension. Of the green and bonus machines. You can connect it to the amateur. Is that how I spelled it? Yeah. To just checking the wording on here and some of the picture things. So the jumper block extension is cool because the alchemy system in general lets you combine two items to make a new item based on the items that you combined. And the jumper block extensions let you modify the alchemizing process and the alchemeter in general. And I get that, like, at that point alchemy was kind of a thing that the author was generally using kind of as like a filler, like a downtime joke kind of thing to break up the action or whatever. but I feel like it has a lot of potential for a lot of cool stuff, and I've read a couple of different fan adventures of people writing Sburb stuff, and basically none of them use this thing, which feels weird because, like, I feel like it has potential to do some really cool stuff, and it's kind of shocking that no one's touched this. As 8. We'll modify the material based on the item in the item is on the Alright, see you in a bit. Now, this is like something I've been basically... I don't know if I'm going to do it justice here. I do want to one day make my own, like, comic adventure thing of a Sburb thing. Maybe more than one if I can ever get the energy and work with all out of myself. That's something I have to probably practice up in myself and working on projects before I can even trust myself to do that. Even to get it halfway or part the way through to the point where I'd be doing that kind of thing, but especially since people with more motivation to make stuff than I have completely failed on finishing an adventure, but I still want to work on... I want to work on more than just one because I'm over-ambitious and I have lots of ideas, but I definitely want to at least work on one, and I'll definitely do my best to include these things in there properly. Even if I have to time skip specifically to this point of the adventure just to do it. But we'll see. We'll see about that. As for now, I need to figure out how I am... At least the 8-slot thing, being a natural limitation, does kind of help with the balance for something like this, and it, you know, makes it so you're not just doing infinite or whatever. Not that that would be helpful in a lot of instances. Now the big question is if I try to limit its usefulness in any way in a mechanical sense, and if so, what would be the way to go about it? My mind is saying that probably some form of command roll on if the item does what you think it would do, because this could realistically do all sorts of stuff. This wiki is very short for what it could maybe do. Yeah, there's... I might do the command roll thing just to kind of sort of balance out potential usefulness, because some items could be completely useless and some could be extremely useful. But that might limit creativity and use of it too. That's the problem. Maybe I should just... Maybe I should use this... Maybe instead of, like, balancing everything, I should just, like, figure out what's the major, like, things that I don't want done with it. Like, I guess I wouldn't want the player just, like, using an item to, like, logic themselves into infinite grist or free alchemizings or whatever. But I do want to, like, let it still be relatively imaginative. And the thing with a thing like this and letting it be the ultimate good as it could be is the flexibility of what all the items can be, and that's not going to be represented very well by making more mechanics. It's going to be represented by letting it be a more narrative thing that leads into mechanics that probably is going to lean into the additional rule that I'll be doing in the next stream, in all honesty. So that, I think that's what I'm going to do. Maybe just kind of like say that it's going to like kind of have something along that lines, but with like some additional rules of like what a jumper block extension absolutely can't do, which for now is probably going to be mostly just like not getting free alchemizations or producing grist. Modifications will be items such will be flexible, mechanically, and be covered mostly by the adding mechanics rule of the core rules. With a few specific rules on what jumper block extensions can't do, such as creating my items for free or using grist. I think that's the best way to handle it, and I don't know how loose or how much the additional mechanic thing is going to be, but I think this is the only way to realistically handle it, is basically having it be part of the additional mechanic thing. Because you're basically going to be unless you're going to make it a flavor or narrative thing, most of the things you could do with this is basically going to be adding an entire new mechanic to the alchemy process, and there's no way I can account for all of that. And I shouldn't, and I should just make that, yeah, part of that. Okay, so... And that's all the alchemy things, but I still have... some of these to go. I have 2 more machines to go. One machine used for the meeting goal of reading the base player is the main one in narrative to deal with this goal. All players can place down this machine in their houses. And that's true. That's something that is true. This is available to all players, which helps lend credence to the idea that the space player frog in Genesis Frog Creation thing is more of a narrative bend toward certain characters of class specs than an outright requirement for a session or for the player. Like, the space player might be most suited for it, and the frogs typically show up on their planet, but like, logically, like, even if the space player is dead, you could probably have other players use the cloning pad. We'll need for here to start interacting with the creation mechanics. Alright. And I think I already covered that before, so I don't have to go over a huge thing. And so the final canon thing that I'm aware of is wrist rig. A machine on top of each player's house once it has reached full height of all the gates and used once the figures have dealt their individual denizens and released Genesis Frog. The first release by dealing with the denizens through the Genesis Frog to a full universe. And there isn't like really any interaction per se. It's basically just, yeah, as it says, a machine that basically helps you mechanically, like, do the end game. It's kind of interesting that we leave off on kind of like, it's technically required, but like, you just place it on and then you turn it on once everyone's done their stuff. It's as simple as that. It's almost not worth mentioning in the grand scheme of things, but it is narratively required, and anyone that's going to be to this point of like playing this game is going to probably not care about like this one extra step before like crossing the threshold of victory. So that's the Fredalia registry, and that was a lot. But now I'm going to do like a quick intermission to refill on water, stretch my limbs a bit. I suggest you all do the same, and I'll return to look at what I'm going to do for landed generation stuff, which probably not going to be as much as full-on land generation, because that sounds more like an advanced rules thing, but I still gotta address what to do with all of the world and traversal stuff, I imagine. So I'll figure that out. I'll start thinking on that when I come back. See you in a few minutes. Alright, we're back with more of this. We're back to the design, and I'm going to be tossing in a word that I forgot somehow in the earlier part, because some words are used interchangeably, like the word medium is used a lot more than this, but this is technically like the individual sphere. Medium. Like, the medium is used way more in terminology than the cyphosphere. And they're technically both correct, but like, the medium is more like the general plane of the in-game area where the adventures happen, where the encyphosphere, I'm gonna just say encyphosphere. I don't know what's the correct term, but the encyphosphere is more of like each individual game session. It's the individual bubble of your own thing. And of course, you can break into other players' sessions in the comic, but that takes a lot of effort. Okay. I need to actually pull up notes or something about this, I think. Because there's a lot of stuff to cover with this. Okay, so we've got player planets, we've got Prospect in the moon, Durst in the moon, Gaia, the Veil, the furthest ring, and then general specific structures, which kind of like sprinkles in between all of those. This is either going to be extremely easy or it's going to be a headache. I don't know. It's hard to tell before I dig into it. Like, I've already been kind of super general with a lot of things. I might breeze through this. This might be 2 minutes. So even narratively, like, throwing in a lot of the narratives and stuff. Okay, the first... I'm going to just start with the first one of... Okay, that just redirects to that. Okay. So... Whoop. Layer planet. Are generated for each layer of the Sburb based on their class spec and their personal quest. Unlike many flexible, unlike many things like me, kernel sprites, flexibility and generation is up to the game itself and not the player's direct input. All player planets. Player planets are named with the mention of land of generally defining the world and typically its conflict through the two still those links. Words can relate either to general aspect of position of class spec or more directly reflect the struggles of the player it's generated for. Consorts, player planets come into existence only when the player enters the medium officially in the Sburb tutorial section. So if a player can traverse space to other planets, they can't interact with planet player not in the game yet. Player planets are the only planets celestial bodies in the medium generated this way, as all other elements will have always existed as long as the session of Sburb has been played. Okay, so here is also the origin spots of consorts, each planet becoming its own with its own unique consort species. Typically, some little animal companion low and that's not me trying to be mean. That's like explicitly consorts are designed as being lower intelligence things. Not to say that they couldn't learn and become greater, but like in general base form, like they are about as intelligent as something born as you come into the game would be. Okay. Cover next. I probably shouldn't move on immediately to the Prospered and Durst thing, because well, I guess I shouldn't anyway, because I don't know if I've done anything here mechanically, though. I don't know how much. I guess there is more even narratively, too, to deal with. But it is a question of how to deal with it. How to deal with it in terms of mechanics. I guess I'm gonna see if there's anything on here about certain things, but one of the things with Sburb is it's super general about a lot of stuff. We don't actually see a lot of the adventure, a lot of the intended route. A lot of Homestuck, like, kind of hits a lot of notes that you might see, and then it kind of skips past stuff. A lot of Homestuck story is kind of skipping through stuff that people have done, glimpsing past things for key events, or showing sessions which people are legitimately speedrunning and skipping huge chunks of content. So, in terms of information on that, it's kind of relatively light. Okay, so they're actually might have to look up. Okay, so the personal quest does not have its own page, which probably says something about how little information there is about it. Okay, which means I'm getting even less help than I would have liked this. Can I at least find information about the gate? Okay, so sorry for the silence. I'm just reading through a lot of stuff and seeing if anything helps me at all. Sort of helps me a little bit. I also think I forgot to mention that when player's house is transported to the medium after the Sburb tutorial section. It will always appear on their own player planet, almost always isolated from any major consort. Civilization and require building up to the first gate in order to reasonably reach other parts of the planet. The early stage of the game. Is there another thing that I was remembering about the whole generation of? I think, I don't know if I need to make strict mechanical thing. I mean, that might be something that I figure out in playtesting. But I feel like this is a situation where I don't need a strict mechanical thing. And just kind of like maybe more of a guide of like, this is just kind of like a good place for general quests to happen. So the player quest might be something that might also make sense to have trackable for, because like you can like explore certain dungeons and find chests with specific loot in it and stuff, so there might need to be some form of progression. Tied to the player planet. And doing certain activities will advance the personal quest. Such as discovering consort villages, doing quests, doing side quests for the consorts, clearing dungeons, etc. I'm gonna have to extend this soon, and I'm still on personal plan, so this might be like longer than an average thing. Personal quest. Right. personal quests will be tracked. And ending will be tracked with the number of person, and progress will the progress will correlate with the danger level of monsters and hour of chest locations and dungeons on the planet. Alright. I feel like that's a good way to do it. It's another thing to track, but considering like you can just legitimately get late game items from some things, I feel like this is a good balance. And if someone wants to really break it, you know, they can probably have a mechanic that breaks it somehow. But I feel like this is a good way to try to sort of balance it and not just have somebody just skip everything just because they feel like it. Even though sometimes in Homestuck that feels like what they did, I want to at least try to mitigate that kind of skipping ahead. Or at least make people have to try to justify it through whatever they do. With the rules modification kind of rules. That'll be later. I don't know how that's going to work. I'll figure it out. I'll come up with an idea, which might be bad, that I'll fix in testing, but we'll figure it out. Personal quests. Expect with the number of personal quest progress. Okay. Do I need anything else with that? Oh, right. Personal will not be needed to complete a session. Sburb will help with both. With progress, inventory, as well as narratively and personal growth journey for the player alongside whatever else happens in the session. Okay, hopefully that's all I need for the personal planets. That's all like one thing. I could have like made this one thing. Okay, 1 second. All right. Prospect endures. Prospect endures. Prospect endures are worlds that are generated in every of session of Sburb. Yeah, that felt like it was. Is this too far out? I don't know. Prospect endures are worlds that are generated in every session of Sburb. Typically, not always identically to start off, though how citizens will progress may change drastically to layers. Into the citizens populate it on game starting. Terms of the citizens of both worlds may change drastically even prior to the actual start of the game, depending on certain usually it's depending on the player. The players or possibly interactions from the outside world prior to the game starting. And I guess I keep alluding to the fact that there are ways to technically teleport into the game before you actually start the game, but that's probably going to be in the structures part of this, and I don't know if I'll get that far. I might have to like split the area generation stuff kind of in half, even though most of this is kind of narrative and not like actual mechanical stuff. I should be going through this as much as I can anyway. And just to make sure, because the player quest thing does seem like something I have to account for. Just as well as the availability items and furniture. Okay. So that was a thing that I like sort of remembered, but didn't remember to fully. Yeah, this is definitely going to be. I think I'll be able to finish this first part of the design by the next stream, but it's definitely going to take until the next stream. I'm not going to be finished this stream. I'm kind of wondering if I'm going to be able to, like, how many more lands, like, if I'm gonna try to finish the Prosperity and Durst thing, and then I might, like, roll out then. I'm just kind of feeling the exhaustion. I'm kind of realizing how mentally exhausted I am from going through all this. I don't know how much it seems to anyone watching this or watching the VOD, but I'm going through a lot of brain power, like, going through all the details I can think of with all this stuff, and double-checking the wikis, and trying to fill in the gaps where the wiki isn't complete, because the wiki is, for how rabid this fandom can be, the wiki is surprisingly kind of, like, lacking in certain places. Like, there is not even a page for personal quest. Like, that's kind of amazing. Like, there should definitely be enough to kind of at least interpolate some information about that. But it only mentioned it occasionally on the wiki where it relates to other things, which is not very helpful for what a wiki is supposed to be. Even if there's not that much actual direct information on it, there's enough information you could at least put it on there. It should be, at least for sake of it. Okay. Okay. Oh no, that's not what I... Okay. A lot of nonsense on here. And are populated with Kara Haitians. Humanoids. 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 How do I put this? Humanoids. Hard shells. Like skin. Damage are populated by carapaces. Humanoids with hard skull like skin. Surely both planets fall into a system of monarchy, plus it's being benevolent, being cruel. These two planets oppose each other. These two planets oppose each other and set the stage for the larger scale conflict. The layers of Sburb will have to overcome in order to build their ultimate goal, leading and Genesis world. Russians want to help with the creation of the Genesis rod, while the parasites despise it and will try to prevent its creation. The two planets will have a peace treaty that lasts until the players start their game and make up their brain cells. Usually, war is in motion whenever or shortly before the game of Sburb begins. due to this treaty, parasites are not allowed to kill the brain cells of the players on Earth's moon until war breaks and those players are awake. Play much more defensively. Both planets have a moon on which the tall towers of the players' dream cells sleep. The rooms of the towers reflecting the room of the player. These moons are connected by a giant metal chain to the corresponding planet. Extremely difficult, but possible to break. That feels like an important note. Orbit. Both planets orbit Gaia, though Orbit does it from very close, much between Gaia and the player planet, while yours is way. There's what's the player planet in relation to the other two bodies between the player planet and okay, what? There's a couple of different terms. Okay. The veil is ring of meteors. And orbit in the veil and furthest ring in the moon. I think I already have that in something else, but yeah. I think I have this somewhere else, but I should probably have it with this, just in case. Dream player towers are split evenly moon. I think I also have the a lot of the things with specific Dursites or Prospidian, like I guess more in the name of combat, I guess, but the general generation of them is kind of already covered. So I guess and their moons, with cities and buildings. You might need sensation there. One verse more hostile. There isn't like a lot of like specific like yeah, I can't think of like what will be the if there's any like need for other than the general definitions of what would be needed for the narrative, and like we already covered some of the player stuff already, or the character stuff. Okay. I feel like there should be more, but I don't know. There's interacting with these worlds beyond their green cells will typically be more late game and more politics. Or mid late game and more politics. Planets also will typically have information about the player's game aspects, usually big and simply put. I feel like I was just thinking of like one more thing to add. I don't know if this was it, but typically this will always get to the point of winning the war is obtaining the means to start the reckoning, which throws all the meteors of the veil towards Gaia. This is wired as... I mean, this is going to be using stuff about Gaia before, but I might have to place it in 2 places. Gaia uses to stop some of the meteors. And it sends them throughout the universe of the players, typically sending the to maybe cells to their destinations timeline-wise. And that's something I might expand more on a thing, but I think that's all I need. Okay. I have more to cover. How much more do I have to cover? I'm gonna check this. I guess I'd put it at maybe at about half of what I had between the 2 streams. The more of it is land creation than I would have liked. And again, like, a lot of this is this kind of narrative stuff that's going to have to be related to, but I have to check to make sure there's not a thing that I need to account for mechanically. It's entirely possible this will stretch an extra 2 streams and not just end next stream, but I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try and prepare some stuff and be done by the end of next stream with this part, with the initial creation part, but we'll see. But right now I'm just kind of mentally exhausted. My voice is going a little bit, so I'm just going to do a quick intermission and I'm going to find somebody to raid. So just give me a minute. Hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. I'm glad to have gotten so much progress on this. I kind of wish I was a little further, but yeah, some of the narrative stuff I had to deal with there was a bit more than I expected. And I wore out. So will I do it in one more stream, or will it take two to properly pace out my energy? We'll see. But I might if I have the time and remembrance, I'll try to prepare, so I might have some of the stuff, the unnecessary stuff, like kind of done in between, so I can just go through it faster and like be done more certainly. But I'll figure that out. That might work, that might not work. We'll see. But I'm just going to raid the normal friends of mine, Twitch Chat Gaming. It's more of a community where people can just interact with the chat and play the game. They're still on Pokemon. I don't know why they're still on Pokemon. You'd think that game would go a lot faster at this point. People just must be chilling right now, relaxing. But for now, just gonna say normal stream times are Sundays, Mondays, and Wednesdays. Tomorrow I'm not going to stream. I'm going to make an announcement tomorrow, closer to when it, on the day of, just so people know. But tomorrow I'm not going to stream for several reasons, but just mostly I have conflicting schedule things, so it's just easier to not, and I'll just try to, I'll be back on Wednesday, and I'll be back to normal next week. But yeah, next Sunday we'll continue to do this game dev, and I'll try to continue it on Sundays until I'm done, including doing some basic playtesting to make this somewhat playable. But until then, and behave and enjoy their stream, and I'll see you the next stream of mine.